Jeff Gordon ran into trouble early as well. The rookie brings out the caution flag here when his car gets sideways. Once things settled down, Sterling Marlin settled in. His Ford would lead the way for 190 laps. But just when it appeared Marlin might be on his way to his first Winston Cup win ever, his car begins to develop handling problems, and that's when Rusty Wallace entered the picture. With Marlin's car going away, Wallace was working his way closer to the front. He had been running conservatively to solve an oil and water temperature problem. But on lap 250, Rusty clears Marlin and takes the lead for good. With Rusty up front, a good battle for second was brewing between Davey Allison and Kyle Petty. Both cars touch and get sideways. Somehow the two drivers were able to save their cars from disaster. Davey would go on to finish fourth, while Kyle would finish second, just behind Rusty, making it a 1-2 finish for Pontiac. Once the track clears, Rusty spins the car around and again takes a Kulwicki victory lap. Rusty's domination of the short tracks continues at the Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. The black and gold Pontiac stays out in front for 409 of the 500 laps. Rusty's win at Martinsville made it 3 in a row and a clean sweep of the month of April. After 8 NASCAR Winston Cup Series races, Wallace maintains a 106-point lead over Dale Earnhardt. Davey Allison sits in third, followed by Kyle Petty and Jeff Bodine. Talladega Superspeedway provides the next challenge for the drivers on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. Everyone wants to know if there will be a repeat performance of the Dale and Dale show as we saw at Daytona. Pole sitter Earnhardt led the 41-car field into what amounted to a 188-lap drag race. 3-wide racing would be the norm all afternoon in the 500-mile event. Passing in heavy traffic at 190 miles an hour eventually leads to trouble. Take a ride with Morgan Shepherd as this crash unfolds on lap 126. 5 cars litter the straightaway with sheet metal. The caution flag comes out. Former Winston Cup champion Terry Labonte gets the worst of it as he sustains shoulder and rib injuries. 30 laps later, Huck Strickland gets loose and just clips Brett Bodine, sending his car out of control into the backstretch wall. Bodine walked away uninjured. Rusty Wallace takes the lead on the restart and appears to be sailing towards 4 in a row when it starts to rain. With the yellow out, Earnhardt in second place races Wallace back to the line and takes the lead. Rain continues to fall, and NASCAR decides to red flag the event until the weather clears. Several teams lobbied to end the race right now, but track conditions improve and the race will finish with just 2 laps to go. Drama unfolds on the final lap. Ernie Irvan, with help from Mark Martin, goes from 5th to 1st, overtaking Earnhardt here out of turn 2. Coming out of turn 4, the drivers scramble to the finish line as crew chief Tony Glover waves Ernie Irvan on to accept the checkered flag. Earnhardt, meanwhile, taps Wallace and sends his car flying across the finish line in a spectacular accident. The mangled race car lies motionless on the grass while safety crews hustle to retrieve the injured driver. Dale Earnhardt parks his car and walks over to see if Rusty is okay. Wallace heads to the hospital with a concussion and a broken left wrist. Winner Ernie Irvan pulls his Chevrolet into victory lane.
It was a real hairy race. You know, a lot of cars running good and a lot of 3 and 4 wide passing, and you know, most everybody used their head pretty good. And, you know, a lot of people got bounced around with the air in the cars, and people could do a lot of things with you just by getting real close to you. And, you know, a lot of guys collided, and just fortunate there wasn't very many wrecks. And, you know, fortunate thing, I heard Rusty's all right, and that's important, and we're all praying for him.
Talladega is over. The Winston Cup drivers are taking a much-deserved break. But there is news on the Winston Cup grapevine. Driver Jeff Bodine has purchased the racing team formerly owned by Alan Kulwicki. And just as Kulwicki did, Jeff will not only be the team owner, but will soon be its driver. Road course expert Tommy Kendall is hired to drive the new Bodine racer. Rusty Wallace is outfitted with a special cast, and he will race at Sears Point. It is race day in California's wine country. 94,000 fans pack the sunny hillsides near Sonoma, California, as Dale Earnhardt, for the second race in a row, leads the field from the pole position around the 2.5-mile Sears Point road course. Earnhardt would take the lead early, driving his black Chevy up and down and around the twisting 11-turn course, with the rest of the 43-car field in hot pursuit. Racing conditions at Sears Point call for heavy braking and sudden bursts of speed, and it doesn't take much to lose control, as Mark Martin, going for second place, finds out. Mark is able to regain control of his Ford, but the slip-up costs him 7 positions. Later in the race, Tommy Kendall's Ford goes for a spin, collecting race leader Dale Earnhardt. As everybody speeds by, Earnhardt suddenly finds himself back in the pack. Earnhardt's loss would be Jeff Bodine's gain. Following the restart, Bodine takes his Ford into the lead, with savvy road racers Ernie Irvan and Ricky Rudd right behind. With the laps winding down, the 3 drivers would race nose to tail. Coming through the S's, Bodine's car slips. Irvan pulls up to race side by side and sneaks past Bodine for the lead. Then Ricky Rudd tries to outbrake Bodine coming out of turn 11, but Bodine will again show the power to regain the lead. Before Bodine can pull away, Dorsey Schrader does some agricultural racing, bringing out the last caution flag. That sets up a 1-lap shootout. On the restart, as Bodine leads the way, cars get bottlenecked at turn 2 and collide. The leaders reach turn 5 and Bodine gets sideways and just saves the race car. Bodine will go on to win his first race of the year. Ernie Irvan squeezes by for second, while an emotional Jeff Bodine heads to victory lane.
Everyone since Bristol has dedicated the race wins to Alan Kwiecki, and of course that's what we did today. But by us buying that team last week and winning the first race out, it was really special. You know, we're all going to miss Alan tremendously in the sport, and so today was really a neat day.
The annual running of the Winston at Charlotte Motor Speedway is a can't-miss affair. It's racing's equivalent to the All-Star Game. No driver points would be awarded on this night, just plenty of cash. The 3-segment race would see Ernie Irvan capturing the first leg, Rick Mast in his black and white Ford taking segment number 2, and Dale Earnhardt holding off Mark Martin in the 3rd segment. The win was worth $220,000 to Dale. Not bad take-home pay for Saturday night at the races.
I'm in a hurry and I don't know why. Alabama.
But payday at the next race wouldn't come as easily. The drivers would have to work a little overtime to complete the 600 miles that make up the Coca-Cola 600. Early on, the battle for position was fierce, filled with daring moves and blazing pit stops. Ted Musgrave's desire to move to the front is cut short. His Ford brushes the wall in turn 1, breaking an exhaust pipe. Dale Earnhardt doesn't have Musgrave's problems, but he is struggling. Down 15 seconds to Dale Jarrett. Earnhardt needs a caution flag to close the gap. In the view of NASCAR race control, he creates his own by bumping Greg Sachs and forcing his car to spin out. As Sachs's car comes back across the racetrack and nearly takes out Earnhardt. When Earnhardt brings his car into the pits during the caution, officials assess Earnhardt a 1-lap penalty. Despite protests from the Richard Childress team, Earnhardt will end up on the tail end of the lead lap. When Rusty Wallace crashes to bring out the yellow, Earnhardt is able to charge to the front on the restart. In the final few laps, Earnhardt checks his rear view mirror, sees other Chevys scrambling for the top 5 positions. But as Dale Earnhardt pulls away, the battle on the track is for 3rd and 4th. Dale Jarrett and Ken Schrader, they can't catch Earnhardt, nor can Jeff Gordon, who come home in 2nd spot. Earnhardt gets the win, his 2nd of the year. Gordon finishes 2nd. Jarrett, Schrader, and Irvan make it a top 5 for Chevrolet. Dover Downs International Speedway, home of the Monster Mile. It's one of the most challenging to drive on the NASCAR Winston Cup circuit. Trouble can strike anywhere at any time. For leader Rusty